Alright, hello everyone. Here we're back for another Golf Clash tutorial video here. And this is going to be for the rookie tournament of the South Coast tournament here that we're going to be taking a look at. And very first tournament. So the first thing that you'll notice, not a lot of balls to choose from. So you'll see that we'll have to be a little bit thrifty in anything that you'll need to do. You can see that I have just a couple Kingmakers, a couple Katanas. Keep in mind we're playing for Titans and Kingmakers. So what I'm going to try to do is basically just get through the rounds and then hopefully have enough gems to be able to pick up balls to be able to finish my final round with hopefully like Titans, for example. So ideally, I'm going to need to buy 9 more Titans, and that'll get me up to 10, and I'm assuming right around 10 is going to be ideal as to how many I'm going to actually need, because on the par 3s, we should probably be okay. So let's just take a look and jump in here. As you can see, not a lot of opportunity and ability to do much here. One of the things that I may do for this tee shot is maybe try to QB it. Well, it only has 40 curl right now. So let's see what this has. This is only 30 curl. So we'll have to keep that in mind. I'm thinking about just throwing QB on here as kind of a third bag option. And we'll do that just dependent upon what the wind looks like. So this will be the first entry. And I really don't have enough coins to really mess around too much with this tournament. So I really got to qualify today. Until I get at least, one tournament under my belt. That's what I'm going to need to do, is essentially get some balls together and get some getting the balls taken care of, get your clubs up a little bit. Keep in mind we won't be able to win anything that's Tour 4 or higher, so I can't win things like quarterback, but in terms of my coins, I need to just kind of stay thrifty here. I think it's 10,000 to play, and I should be able to win somewhere in the neighborhood of 30 or 40, 50,000 guaranteed in return. So that's the good news. So a couple different options here. One of the things that I can choose to do is kind of beat this down here, kind of as hard as I can. Another thing that I can do is basically just lay up to the left-hand side here. So let me go ahead and just do that. We're going to basically run basic with just a little bit of curl. Since I really don't have the range, I don't want to get too risky off this first tee shot. It's much nicer to probably just put the ball in play more than anything and just try to figure out what the next wind's going to be. So you can see my opponent has a big dog, which is going to make things a little bit tougher because they didn't really drive the angle necessary here. So it is going to be just a little bit tougher. Another thing that you can try to do is some kind of bump here, which is what I'd like to do, but it's also risky. If I miss the bump, I can potentially put myself in trouble right on the first round. And it looks like my opponent just able to get it up on there. You can see it's very good approach in terms of what it can give you. But at the same time, if you miss the rough, you're in trouble. And you can actually see I'm in between clubs, so I actually need to get up a little bit closer or stay a little bit farther back, because I'm not going to be able to do anything from this territory. So the only thing we're going to be doing here with this angle that we took is we'll just be basically laying up. And by laying up, I just mean basically, you know, not able to shoot at the hole. So we're just basically just curling and getting it over close to the fringe for a putt, because we can't really get aggressive enough. So we'll have to figure something out there, whether that means we lay up just a little bit or we have to get just a little bit more aggressive on that edge if we're going to go over to the left this tournament. So perfect ball. Able to roll this one in, get the birdie. And ideally, you know, what I'm kind of hoping for is, you know, 11 or 12 under would be ideal. If I can just avoid the mistakes more so than anything, that's going to be kind of crucial. Another thing, playing your opponent. So this is very, very tough to land on this surface here. It's very, very risky, because if it doesn't bounce the way that you want, I had one earlier that I just popped straight up in the air, went nowhere. So not the best hole here. It's a little tricky, to say the least. I would imagine this is probably running through the green because he's adding power. So I'm assuming it's not going to take any of the backstop and just kind of roll through. So what I'm going to do is basically just play it conservative, get it on the green. That's more or less what you'll need to do. So if I can, you know, for instance, just get it up into here somewhere, you know, this should be enough. So that's all I'm trying to do here. Let's put just a tiny bit of curl on it. Just going to shoot it right into the green a little bit here. And it looks like I pick up how many coins? 2K. Okay, so 1,000 a match. So I'm going to split these up. I'll have 9 videos for you guys. So, you know, let me just kind of show you where we're at in terms of this account. So at the end today, we should be, you know, at 56 matches. So good luck with that first hole, guys, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Right, hello everyone. Here we are setting up for hole number 2. Let's try to go Viper here. It's going to be tough because I really don't have top spin yet. I think you may need some top spin. So we'll have to just take a look here. My clubs are just a little bit limited with what I'm capable of doing. More so than anything, it's going to be, you know, make sure you don't make a par. It's going to be, you know, goal number 1. So as I mentioned, you know, no top spin. I'm a little worried that, you know, I don't have enough to get there. But what I'm going to try to do is just kind of create an angle here. Thinking somewhere around maybe 4 rings just to be on the safe side here. Should be good. And I'm going to try to create an angle with this curl shot. Just kind of slice it up here. And there you can see just a little bit short. I was a little too aggressive with how much If you can do one top spin, that's going to be a better shot. But you can see with the basic ball, it's just really, really complicated. And you want to, above anything, you know, avoid the mistake. So you can see both me and my opponent, we have to play kind of really tricky shots. And I'd rather do it with some curl to create that nice angle, because I don't want a great ball left. If my opponent, let's say my opponent great balls left, it could essentially cost them the hole. Well, or not pull back enough. So you can see basically put himself in a tough situation there. And, you know, that's how you basically end up with pars. Now here you can see that the hole is within the cup here. So I would imagine that I could great ball this either side. So with that being said, that's the reason that you're going to see me go for the dunk, because I should be able to great ball this into the hole. However, I did get the perfect ball, and I expect to be able to get my birdie and avoid, you know, anything that, you know, these new par threes are just brutally hard. So, especially with, you know, not having the top spin here, it really just kind of changes the way that I need to play the hole and makes it just a little bit tougher. So let's see my opponent here. Their account's about 120 games in. So let's see what they do. It looks like that was a really weird thing. It looks like they had it lined up with the hole, and then they moved it for whatever reason off the hole. But there you can see we're able to get our birdie, avoid the mistake there. And, you know, hopefully you guys can get just a little bit more aggressive than me. So good luck there, and I will see you guys on the next hole. All right, hello everyone. Here we are, hole number 3. Now this is where things are going to start to get a little interesting. Now, without having the top spin, I'm going to have to put on big dog. I'm not going to risk it any other way. So there you can see I actually got Goliath. Oh wow, this is full of very nice chests there. I'm going to try to upgrade what I can, but I might not be able to afford as much as I want. So I am going to probably have to stay out of tour play this week. As you can see, but I could really use that accuracy boost there. In terms of Goliath, I may need to pull this out as well. But I don't see that update as being majorly crucial. So for now, I'm going to hold off on it. This one also not crucial because I don't even know if I'm going to be using that club. This one would be nice to have. A little bit of extra backspin, ball guide. Let's just go ahead. We'll put this one on. And what was the other one? Did I miss any? I really wanted quarterback. Ooh. So it's $9,000 for my quarterback. I'm going to go ahead and do it. It's going to push me down, you know, $6K. So I need to make sure that I just manage a little bit. You know, I should be able to at least win a couple extra thousand, just from, you know, playing the stock round here. So, you know, not too worried about how tight that gets, but I did want to at least, you know, having that up to a 4 is really going to help me out. And if I can have that on a bag, which I do, I may end up going with this. I just don't know yet. We'll have to just see. So let me put big dog on both these bags here, because we're just going to have to basically decide which choice to do. Let me just put this one back to normal. So I'm either going to go with bag 2 or bag 3. So my opponent already over 1,000 trophies. It's going to be hard to play tournaments because this is the one time that you're not really playing fair matchmaking. They really have no algorithm whatsoever for matching opponents because they want to make matching easier. So, you know, there's going to be times where you're going to wind up playing games like this, where it's going to be, you know, very hard for me to beat my opponent. So might just have to, you know, basically take some losses from now on, every now and then. We'll just see how it plays out. It looks like, you know, he didn't hit the best drive, which could end up favorable for me. What I'd like to do is maybe land around here, full overpower here with some curl. It's kind of what I have in mind. So there you can see, perfect ball. It is a little risky, but you can see I'm able to pull it off. It'll be easier because, you know, once we get towards that weekend round, like I mentioned, we're just going to be able to bring out the Titan. I won't have to use any overpower. So the Titan's going to have those extra 10 yards. Wow. So a sniper 8 already. It's crazy. So good chance for my opponent to get this up, you know, somewhere reasonably to the green. And as I mentioned, if my opponent does get this eagle here, it's going to be very, very challenging to beat my opponent. So I really need, you know, to beat my opponent on the course here, because getting them to the shootout is going to be against a sniper 8. No, that's going to be a pretty much instant loss. So I'm not too sure what to do. There's one on the top spin. I'll probably just do one top spin, kind of point it at the hole. And we're just going to roll with this for now. Just kind of see how it plays. Perfect ball. Looks like not quite enough. You can see I had the right idea. It's going to be tough to play these holes and, you know, guess the ball guide. It's a tough game of guess the ball guide. So hopefully I can sneak out this this win here would be ideal. You can see it's a little bit angled. I do think he may need a great ball left here to have a chance. And sure enough, he gets it. Let's see if it actually catches the hole, though. Still no. So he didn't play any wind, and, you know, that's kind of the reason, because you needed to play the wind. But since it was pointed a little bit right, I knew a great ball left would actually help that shot. But you can see it actually went through, which I was fortunate of, because I really needed to, you know, to be able to pull out this win, I needed my opponent not to eagle. That was crucial there. So good luck with that one, guys, and I'll see you guys momentarily on the next hole. All right, hole number 4 here, guys, rookie division. I'm going to go with the standard bag. We'll go basic ball here. So let's just jump in here, take a look at what we got. So let's take a look. This is a challenging one. You can see the wind here, not the most favorable either. So what I'm trying to do here is definitely make it up into the green here with some curl. So I'm going to play maybe 2 rings, 3 rings, somewhere like that. Just a tiny bit of overpower. Want to make sure that it, you know, doesn't come up short. Has a chance to get to the hole anyway. You do have to be a little bit cautious with how much you curl. You can see not quite able to get it up. But you know, I want to avoid that bunker. So I'm going to play somewhat conservative on this hole. I don't want to take too much of a risk. And that wind that they set up is, you know, really hard for rookies. They're almost trying to entice you into not playing the wind effect and winding up in the sand. So something you'll have to be very, very cautious of. And very, very tricky shot here. And here you can see a great ball on my opponent as well. And you can see it actually hits that face and goes splat right into the bunker. So very tough shot to try to do what my opponent's doing. Nothing that I recommend, intentionally setting up for. As you can just see the complications that arise from trying to go at the hole like that. It's just very risky landing on that front face. So here you can see they don't have much ball guide, which makes it just a little bit tougher to play. It looks like their great ball is actually going to be better than their perfect ball because it looks like he overplayed this wind. A good ball is going to end up pushing it to the right. So I'm able to sneak out another one here. We're going to keep grinding. See if I can't finish this guide. You can see with that approach that I took, somewhere around the neighborhood of 3 topspin is going to be ideal if you can do it. So good luck with that hole, guys, and I'll see you guys on the next one. All right, hello guys, here we are, hole number 5. This is going to be the hardest hole in the entire set to get. So first thing that I want to take a look at is kind of my range. If I really need to have the distance on this, it looks like I won't have to switch my bag up. I can just probably use bag 2, for instance. So other than that, let me just throw this on real quick. I think it's got some more distance, just in case I need it. In terms of the wedge, we're looking at 30 accuracy, and the short iron is 40 accuracy. The runner, so I still don't have anything with backspin in terms of a short iron, unfortunately. So ideally, what I'd like to do is have some more topspin, and I'd like to use some Titans, but I really don't have the Titans to spare. So what I'll need to do here is just be a little bit thrifty. It would be ideal that if my opponent could secure the eagle, it could make me get a little bit more aggressive with my third shot than I probably, might be able to do otherwise. But that's asking for a lot, especially in terms of rookie. This is going to be a very tough hole. This is the hardest hole in the entire set, in my opinion. And I am going to get to see my opponent first, which is going to help. So I'd like to pay attention, see what they do. Because this will help me judge the speed of how much I can do with this shot. Ideally, I do believe that, Titan is the way to go. But as you could see, I really don't have a lot to spend. And if I use a Titan, I want to make sure that I actually secure that eagle as well. You don't want to use a Titan and then not get your eagle. So well played by my opponent so far. And as I mentioned, I'm kind of on the fence about doing this. I'd like to, I guess since I need to kind of put together a guide for you guys, I'm just going to go ahead and use my one Titan. Because this is the one hole that I think, having that extra length can, really be the difference here. And I'm going to try to utilize my max curl, no overpower, essentially. So, and the curl, what it's going to do is just, try to keep me out of that right rough. So you can see my opponent didn't do that, but that's what I would recommend, just to kind of shoot it over here and stay away from this edge. And the farther you get it down here, the better. But I also have to be careful, especially for my first attempt, make sure I don't get too aggressive. But this is the one hole where, I can get eagle essentially just by threading it through here. And, locking it up would be nice because it's not going to be easy. But you can see I only have one Titan. So I know that for a fact, I'm going to need a couple more somehow. So, I might have to spend 180 gems. So I need to kind of just make sure that I keep building up these free chests, because I may need to spend all this. And another thing here is I'll need to get kind of aggressive here in terms of power. I'm assuming that I'll probably have to go full here. I'm just going to make this shot just a little bit riskier. And it looks like I caught my perfect ball. That's going to be definitely nice to see, because I think it'll keep me out of the bunker. It'll get me up here. I may not be close enough to be able to dunk this, but that's what I'd really like to do. Otherwise, you can see the wind is very straight. If I could just hit a perfect ball, I should be able to roll the pitch in normal as well. But I might not be close enough to do a dunk from that range. So the first thing that I'll typically do is just size the hole up, see, is the ball smaller, is the cup smaller than one ring, or is one ring inside the entire cup. So that's the first thing that I'll do. But you can see now I'm out of those Titans, and I'll definitely need Titans for the final round. So you can see just a little bit tougher to get the eagle, but you can also lay up and get the eagle, as you can see. But my clubs really are a little bit lacking. You can see, as I was mentioning, if I go for this dunk, it's going to be a 1 out. But with the limited ball guide, I'd probably just still do it anyway. I mean, I didn't draw a very big wind. So with that being said, I'm just going to put it right on the front of the cup. And if I get my perfect ball, this should be in the cup. It basically just comes down to perfect ball timing. And of course not. So I missed perfect ball, and you can see as a result, I missed the dunk. So as I mentioned, when we're talking about dunks, that cup tolerance, you have to be inside a cup in terms of the ball. So I knew instantly that it was a miss. It just needed to be perfect and perfect ball only. And, it just seems like I just wasn't able to quite get the timing. So it cost me a stroke, and it cost me my Titan, even worse, because I could have easily got this with a basic ball. I could have easily made birdie. Kind of the one thing that I'm kind of up against is I don't have a short iron that I can. If I had like 3 backspin or 4 backspin on some kind of short iron, I would just go for a dunk. I wouldn't even worry about hitting it up to where I just did on that hole. I'd just take my thorn and just go all in on it. So here you can see my opponent has a guardian. That's going to make my life a lot harder. It really gives him a good opportunity. Well, I'm surprised he's doing all this. So let's see how it works out. It looks like this is a shot that he's been practicing, apparently, because that was a really strange, awkward way to go about shooting. But you can see that it actually worked out essentially perfect. And, in terms of what I have to do, I'm essentially in a lot of trouble. So, I'll try to do this. I don't think it's backspin that I need. If it is, it's very little. Just trying to think. It's very little. It's marginal backspin. So here I'm using 1 bar. Maybe too much. I really just not sure. And of course, a great ball. It's going to push it out towards the side. Probably isn't coming back enough. Well, we'll see. Looks pretty decent. So it looks like I'm able to edge out the win here. As I mentioned, I knew it was going to be kind of small backspin, and I was just able to kind of pull that off. So very fortunate there, because I went up against a guardian. which I don't even have unlocked yet, or else it would be, see, the instant I unlock that, it goes straight in the bag. It's the best wood in the game there. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to get the eagle, but fortunately pulled off that match. So good luck there, guys, and I'll see you guys on the next one. All right, hey guys, here we are. Setting up for hole number 6 here. Just kind of resetting back to normal. We're going to probably go basic ball here. So what I'm probably looking at on this hole is going over to the left-hand side until you can get some reasonable curl, or a big topper or something. You can probably big topper it over here. If you guys didn't see my pro guide, you might want to check that out, because I did a big topper 3 and it worked out, which means that, you know, a lot of you guys could probably emulate that shot a little bit with just a little bit different wind direction. So if you could kind of use that technique, probably be a good one. Opponent there, very fortunate to just hold the fairway. The rough there might have been, you know, a little bit catastrophic. So one of the things that you can do is you can kind of just not play into the bunker and just kind of lay it up short. So that's more or less what I'm doing. Maybe about 3 rings for my play. And what this will do is it, you know, it'll make it to where you don't have to challenge, and we can just set ourselves up for a long iron basically. So here you're going to stay out of short iron range, which is going to make, you know, the second shot isn't the easiest. It's a little bit tricky. Again, another opponent that's going to be very tricky for me to beat. And you can see 2 or 3 backspin, kind of the result. So what I'd like to do is kind of emulate it, but just get just a little bit more aggressive if I can. Somewhere right around here. And 64 accuracy, right around just a hair inside 2 rings or so. And just missed. So gave it a good run. That's the technique that I would pretty much recommend, is just, you know, don't get too aggressive off the tee. Just kind of do what's necessary. Put the ball in play and give yourself a very good, reasonable chance to be able to win the hole. And I almost got the eagle that way, even with the limited ball guide. So it does show you that it's very straightforward. Very good opportunity there for you guys to take advantage of. Otherwise, now we're going to have to go to the shootout. It's going to make things just a little bit tougher. It's tough to win this one. We're probably going to stick to our shot that we've been doing. You know, kind of as I mentioned, you know, you can land into this face and pull this off. It's very risky though. Especially, it looks like my opponent's short hitting this a bit, so I have to be very careful to make sure that it doesn't hit too much into the face, and sure enough, that's what it did. Check. Phew. So I don't even think I can get inside that, so that almost worked out perfect. I don't even think I can get the ball that close. So with that being said, you know, it's looking like an instant loss for me, unless I was to actually go for that risky shot as well, because I don't know if I can get the backbone to run out that far. And I'm going to have to get just a little bit more aggressive than I've been getting. So I'm going to have to challenge that bunker just a tiny bit more. And not aggressive enough. So you'll see I'm out here towards the left and end up losing this match. It's very risky going for that face shot. I didn't want to risk it. You can see it was basically the difference between my opponent short hit that. Okay, and if he didn't short hit it, it would have been nowhere near where he just hit it. So it's a game of that many inches as to how that worked out. That fortunate for him is just by, you know, the difference between him putting it in the center of the circle and putting it where he did in the circle. And there's no way of knowing that it was exactly going to play out like that. It's very tough to replicate that. In fact, you've even seen 2 shootouts so far. You know, one, the opponent shot way over the green. The other went into the bunker. So it's a very risky shot. You know, and pulling it off, it was almost essentially impossible to beat. So good luck there, and I'll catch you guys on the next. All right, here we are, guys. Hole number 7. We're setting up for. So I'm assuming we're probably going to play this very similar to the way that you saw me do it on the shootout on hole number 5. Is we're just going to try to bump it down there. Very little backspin. Less than a bar. And depending on the wind scenario, it kind of changes the way that I play the spin. So let's take a look here. Just see how my opponent's shot works out. Let's see if it looks like not quite enough wind play. Ends up in the sand. Good opportunity for me to win this one with birdie. So all we're going to focus on is kind of getting it to that same spot that we did last time, with just a little bit more backspin this time because it's a side wind. So you'll see how I'm playing it, kind of right around here. We're going to play maybe about 2 rings here, which is a little bit of an overplay. And aside from that, I'm probably going to curl it a little bit as well. Just a tiny. Looks like it's coming up a bit short. It didn't really roll out the way that you know, I was hoping. That's one of the things about fairways you just got to be a little bit careful of. As you can see, my ball doesn't roll out because it just kind of takes a little bit different bounces than it did last time I played this on the shootout. So all the minimal differences can change your shot completely. So my opponent gave it a good run there, had a good chance, but it just slid by. And how I just rolled up onto the green here, it's going to put me at just a little bit longer putt. But I think I'm within the safety range. Yeah, it's not too much. I don't even think there's power on this at all. So there you can see I roll in my perfect ball, able to get the birdie. And, you know, hopefully you guys are also able to get that one. And hopefully be able to maybe get the hole-in-one. If you didn't see my shot on hole 5, you may want to just check it out and just take a look at it because it had some very good quality to it. And if you can just kind of replicate a little bit of that, or, you know, kind of the line I just took there with just a little bit more momentum, I think you're going to have a good chance at that one. So good luck, and I'll catch you guys on 8. All right, here we are, hole number 8. Now, what I'm going to be doing for this one is basically a quarterback shot, more than likely, off the tee. And just laying up here. So what I'd like to do is just kind of land it around here, a little bit of topspin. Shouldn't need too much ball guide or anything. This is just going to be kind of the safest way to play this. And with the accuracy of QB, it's really going to give me a chance. So you can see I'm down there at min club. So basic ball is all you're going to need on this one. In fact, power actually makes it to where you probably can't replicate this shot as easily. It won't be as easy to replicate what I just did with a power ball. You'll have to do more of a, a backspin shot off the fairway instead of doing the hop. You have to land kind of towards here. And I've kind of touched on this before. You don't want to do this kind of stuff with extra mile. If my opponent great balls this, it's probably too much for him to hold the fairway. So that's the biggest thing that you want to be worried about. Another thing is making sure that you don't, get too aggressive with trying to play this slope. You're better off adding topspin and playing away from the edge. As I mentioned, perfect ball is going to be relatively important when you bring extra mile. So that's one of the biggest reasons to bring the quarterback, because let's just think about that one ring over and it's in the rough. So you do need to be very cautious there. It looks like I brought Big Dog. I must be on bag 2 on accident. So very challenging for me to be able to pull this shootout off now. So I'm just going to basically try to make the second hop right around the fringe or so. So right around here, in terms of how many rings, I'm thinking a ring and a half here. Oh, come on. So great ball is going to push it off towards the side, but you can see speed-wise what we're looking at. You do probably want to play this with 1 or 2 backspin here. What I typically like to do is about 4 or 5 on woods. However, using 1 or 2 up a hill like this, it's going to make it a little bit better. It's going to come in with kind of the speed that you want. And you can see, once again, it's going to be very impossible for me to almost win against opponents like this. 3,000 games in, so it's essentially a loss that I pretty much just have to accept, unless I just execute an absolute beast shot on the shootout somehow. Fortunately, all the shots can be done with the Big Dog. So it can be done. It's just very challenging to do so. And if I keep getting hole number 4, I mean, we can just throw it out the window if I'm going to have to just keep playing 4 all day for the shootout. I think I've gone to 2 shootouts so far, 3 shootouts so far, and they've all been hole 4. It's probably the hardest. Oh, no, I went to 1 that wasn't hole 4. It was hole 7. But having to play those on repeat on hole 4, that's the hardest one to hit close with with my bag. So really making things a lot tougher for me. But you can see the clubs that my opponent has. I'm outmatched in every way. It's going to basically come down to me hitting perfect ball and, executing well on the shootout shot with no ball guide, which is very hard to do. So hopefully we can win some Titans this tournament and maybe even get some decent clubs in the next time in between the tournaments. It'd be nice to go pro next time. so I can start unlocking some better stuff. So once again, this is going to be a challenging, definitely a challenging one for me. I don't have the backspin to hit the shot that my opponent is doing, and this is the easiest shot. You know, the shot that I just had to play is very tough. And this one, you know, works out a little bit more favorably. So tough to screw this one up. Easy to screw mine up. So again, that's why, you know, I don't want to see these holes pop up. But best case scenario for me, he rolls down the hill, which is looking like he actually is. So now if I can use some curl, I have to get just a little bit closer than I did last time. But other than that, I'm in pretty good shape here. I'm thinking close to one on the backspin here. Essentially just going to set kind of right, very close to min a bit, and we'll have to use some curl here as well. Substantial more than I used last time. Biggest reason being, so let's see. It looks like I can get it to run up there. So much better. So fortunate that my opponent rolls down the hill, and I'm able to still sneak out the win, thank goodness. This is very, very tough to win in those scenarios. You know, it almost requires a mistake on my opponent's point because of how challenging that is to, you know, visualize with no ball guide. You just kind of got to put it on spots and just kind of hope for the best. But good luck with that hole, guys. Hole 8, not too bad. And I will see you guys momentarily on hole number 9. All right, hello everyone. Here we are, hole 9. What I'm kind of contemplating for this one is going over to the left-hand side. Biggest problem that I see for this hole is range. So I'm a little worried about if I go to the right, can I get to the green, especially with basic ball? And I'm not sure the answer is yes, but I think there's a good chance that if you go to the left over here with basic ball, you can reach the green. But I think putting it on this fairway, there's almost going to be no way that you can hop this and get it over this bunker. It's low probability, to say the least. So one thing I want to mention is my opponent's getting very aggressive. If he was to great ball this to the right, ooh, now overpower, even with perfect ball, this might not hit the fairway. And great ball right, definitely not going to. There's no way. Oh, still caught the edge. The only problem is he may have, yeah. So it went too far and threw into the bunker. You really didn't need all that for that shot. Now, what I think I need to do here is some kind of hook shot, unfortunately. So I'm not sure that I can get it to stay up any other way. So let me take a look at a marlin ball here. Try to get that wind down. And I'm thinking of landing somewhere on this plane. And I usually go about 7-ish rings here. And we're going to have to just kind of back off the power as well. So far so good. It's actually closer to the right edge than I would have ever thought. So I was worried about not being able to get it over there enough. I could probably just stick with basic ball there and just try to keep it a little bit more centered. I thought I was going to need that right spin, and I really didn't. So that's more or less what I'll try to do moving forward, is just kind of switch over to the basic ball and try to replicate that shot. If you have the ability to use like a Titan, you probably don't even need to do that hook. you can basically just kind of either launch it over that whole fairway into the fairway on the flight, into the second where my second bounce was, if you can get it to that second fairway on a full overpower shot, or alternatively, you can just bump it up there. And the extra side spin on Katana or Titan would be enough to help you. So here you can see we're a little bit out of range here. I'm not too terribly knowledgeable of what needs to be done here. I don't really have enough topspin to do a bump shot. And backspin seems to, I can't tell. I can't tell on the backspin if that's going to be any good whatsoever. So we'll have to just play a curl shot here. I'm thinking somewhere in the neighborhood of 2 rings. You can see that I'm also kind of trying to play a little bit more towards the center of the fairway. And we're also going to definitely stay away from the edge. Let's just see how this plays out. Looks like the backspin is just a little bit too much, but the idea of the shot is good. So you can see that it gets me over here. It solidifies my eagle, which is a good thing because that's a very tricky hole to secure that eagle. And more than anything, we just gotta play consistent here. We need to get some 11s and 12s, and ideally, put together 2 12s is going to put me in a good chance here to banner. So maybe 25 under wins it. So if I can put together a 12 and an 11 on the 23, 24 in my opener, and then hopefully a 25 would be enough to secure this, because this course is definitely challenging. So good luck there, guys. Hopefully, hopefully your bags are a little bit better than mine, but even if they're not, I just wanted to kind of, take the time here to just show you that it still can be done. It's not something that's impossible. So you can see, I played relatively thrifty on the balls. I shot the same as this guy who has 1,700 games and all those tournaments. That's a substantial amount of tournaments. And, I'm in there at 11, which is decent. As I mentioned, I would imagine come weekend time, if I can put up 23, 24, I'm really going to put myself in a good position, especially if I can get a good tiebreaker going for my opener. But you'll see that there's not a lot of opportunities for hole-in-ones on this course. It's a very challenging course. So good luck out there with your rounds, guys. Let me just kind of show you where we finished up here. This is my entire free-to-play account. So everything that I'm going to be doing is going to be not spending a dime, and we're just going to be playing just a little bit more thrifty and trying to, get through more than anything. So I was able to go 8 of 9 there. So, something that still can be done. Let me know how your guys' rounds work out. Good luck out there. Take care, guys.